Okay, so here's the thing, right? You guys know this. I love physical manga. Like holding a book in your hand and flipping through and being able to support works you absolutely adore and artists that create those works is a big thing. And I love to do it. And honestly, you know, I'm a big fan. Let me just, I just need to, I feel like I need to say that in the beginning of this video because I want to talk about piracy. I get you, whoa. Just hear me out, right? Because obviously, if you can and you're able to, always support the official release. And a lot of times there are digital services and stuff like that that makes it relatively easy and cheap to read a lot of series while supporting the artists. I'm saying, listen, look at me. I'm saying this because I think you should do it. But hear me out. Manga piracy might actually be good. I know. But there's a lot that goes into that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, you should all go out and pirate stuff. Hey, you see what I'm saying? I'm saying, hey, whoa. I'm saying don't do that. Always support the official release if you can. But there are some cases where maybe it doesn't have a physical release in the country that you live in. A perfect example is Kingdom. It hasn't been out here in North America ever, and it has been going on for years and years and years. And finally, they announced the physical release. I believe that that wouldn't have happened without manga piracy, without fans discovering it through, you know, alternative means. And every time Viz made those special announcements on Twitter and stuff, the comments were like, that's all, hey, JoJo's is coming out? But what about Kingdom? You got that series, but hear me out about Kingdom. This is but that Kingdom, though. And through that, Viz was able to see that, wow, this series that's not released over here is really building up this fandom. And now we finally are going to start getting the releases of Kingdom over here in North America. And in the long term, can we say that that was a bad thing that so many people pirated this series? You know, like obviously people can have their feelings about pirating media in general, and that is completely valid, you know, because again, like I collect a lot of, I collect a lot of manga. I love physical media. But when it comes to cases of not being able to get it in your native country, is it better or worse to just let these series maybe go into obscurity in your country? Obviously, if it's popular, you know, in Japan, it'll continue to be popular in Japan. But letting these series kind of fall through the cracks where you live, just because there's no official release of it, or because new fans are discovering it every day, later on down the line, it might get that official release. And I think, again, Kingdom is such a perfect example of this. I really don't believe we would have this release if it wasn't for people pirating the manga. So as long as, you know, now that they finally got what they want, you support that official release, you support that author and that creator, and it shows Viz that, oh, we were right to do this. So then they maybe start looking at other series. And I think piracy, once again, this is one of, I have never been so nervous to record a video because I do not know how YouTube's going to go with this, but here we are. I've really just been thinking about it a lot because it's so easy to say like piracy wrong. And I kind of agree with that. I think if there is a way to officially support the creator, I will always do that. And that's just me. But also, I'm a little older. You know, I remember being way younger and not having a lot of disposable money. So is it a bad thing that that kid finds a manga series on the internet and becomes a big fan of it? And maybe later on down the line, when he gets a job and has disposable income, he's become a fan of it through this mean, but now he's supporting the author. Going back and purchasing the old physicals, you know, supporting it digitally, whatever it may be. But just because he found it through reading it online, is that wrong? I don't think it is. And obviously, again, everyone's going to have their different opinion. And I think the conversation has changed a little bit, especially these past few years, with online services becoming so prevalent and so relatively a cheap alternative to support the author and read the work. Because if you remember, like Shonen Jump and Viz and all that, Shonen Jump launched at $1.99. I believe it's $2.99 right now. I know it's $2.99. It comes out of my bank account every month. But $3 to get access to some of the best action shonen and one of the biggest manga magazines in Japan is a pretty good deal. Viz Media, I believe, launched at around $6, and there are just a lot of options if you want to go that route. But that still doesn't deal with the fact of, well, what if the series that you want to check out is not on there? And so using these means to, again, just keep that series alive, I think is important. It's important for preservation. It's important for bringing in new fans and keeping that series in the conversation. And I truthfully don't believe that series would stay in conversations if it wasn't for manga piracy. And I also think the barrier for entry for checking out a new series is a little lower when you're just like, hey man, I found this website and it's got this manga on there. You can kind of just scan the pages and see if it's for you. Now, again, I think if it's on a digital streaming service, you should probably do that. But it's so easy just to go to a website and be like, oh yeah, my friend told me this, or I heard about this series on a YouTube video, and I see that there's a website here. Again, but first, be very careful for the website you click. That can go bad. That can go real bad. So just be cautious of that. But it's easy to be like, well, just this website that I type into my computer, and here are the images. I can at least dip my toe into this series, and oh man, I read 3 chapters. That was enough for me to be like, you know what? I'm going to pick up this first volume. And so, would they have gotten that sale if it wasn't able to just be browsed on the internet? And I think that's a lot of the reasons that Shonen Jump, I believe a lot of their, either it's their first chapters or their latest chapters are free. Because I do think being able to just like go and read a chapter for free in this kind of medium is very beneficial. It's the same reason that Amazon for books gives you a free preview, gives you like 2 or 3 pages to kind of read. Because I think that if you're like, oh, I've heard about this, and you're able to get a chapter or 2 and just kind of see like, is this what I think it is? Now, obviously, as we know, sometimes it takes a story a little bit longer to like get into its groove, but at least having a chapter or 2, you can kind of be like, okay, what's the art style really like? Like, I know I saw this guy talk about it on the internet, but like, well, am I kind of into it? Or where's this story gonna go? Am I kind of into it? So I don't think that they would have gotten the physical sale if they didn't have the option to give you a little bit for free. So while I think it's great that it keeps old series in conversation, or gives us an official release of a title that we maybe never thought we would get an official release for physically, or it gives you a few chapters for free to see if you're into this series. I mean, I can't do this video without being like, yeah, it's a huge problem. It costs the manga industry a ton of money. And some of the only numbers that I could find were from last year in 2024, talking about how in 1 month it cost over $800 million for manga piracy. So much so that Japan has invested $2 million in AI to help crack down on manga and anime piracy. And this AI scours for copyrighted images and video so they can shut down pirated websites. So again, it definitely comes with a cost, so much so that publishers are investing in AI to help crack down on it. And I think we're all going to come to our own conclusions of how you feel about piracy, and it's completely valid whichever way you want to land, of like, I feel like you should never pirate, or dude, I have been on the seas for so long. I am Monkey D. Luffy on these seas. And I think, you're valid in either way. But I think it's hard to not talk about that maybe piracy in the long run has helped some of the industry. And it's been able to help spread this industry farther, because the manga industry is steadily growing here in the United States. And I think it's impossible to say that the ability to go online and go to a website and check out manga has at the bare minimum been a factor in the growth of it. Because, I mean, listen, while I think it's awesome that I can stand here in my shelves and just have all this stuff around me, I also know that I'm very lucky in that. I'm very lucky to have been consistently employed and had the money to do it. Some people don't. It doesn't mean that they're not manga fans. And who knows, right? Maybe a story that they discover while they're selling the high seas can help them through a very difficult time. And when it all works out, they're maybe one of the biggest official supporters of this industry. So that's why I just think that it's very important. Again, you can agree or disagree, and that's completely valid. I just want to keep saying that because it's such a interesting topic. It's such a very, it's one of the hardest topics I've had to think about making a video of. Because I went back and forth, right? I went back and forth, is it even worth talking about? And it's just like stayed on my mind for a while, and I've recorded this video just to kind of break the fourth wall here at the end. I've recorded this video probably 5 times just because I want to get the wordings right. And I just, see right there was a cut because I paused. Because I think it's just so important, and it's such a hard topic to discuss. Because obviously, and I know a lot of people that probably watch the videos that I make, you know, you're manga collectors. You want to officially support it, and I am the same way. But I just kept thinking and I believe, and you could let me know in the comments, we talk in the comments below, but I believe that manga piracy and sailing the 7 seas of the internet, at the end of the day, is a part of the reason that the manga industry is continuously growing. We made it. We made it to the end. Maybe this video makes it, or maybe YouTube immediately strikes it down and we did not make it to the end of this video. But if we did, I wholeheartedly appreciate you guys. It means the world to me that, you know, we talk in the comments and that you just enjoy my rambling. I'm very appreciative of it. And as always, I hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. If you're having a good day, it becomes fantastic. I'll see you next time.